F12. Councillor Ramsey, you poke at F12.
Thanks, Your Worship. I just wanted to acknowledge and thank receipt for the letter of correspondence from the Together group. We have 5 recommendations. I'm just wondering through to Mr. Babich if it would be appropriate to forward this for feedback as a letter of correspondence for the Heart and Hearth Committee for their next agenda meeting.
We can certainly do that, Your Worship. We can share this correspondence with the Heart and Hearth Committee. I believe it's already gone to the province, but we can certainly arrange for it to be raised at the next committee meeting at the table.
Great, thank you. I'd like to move that just be forwarded to Heart and Hearth. Thanks.
Second by Councillor Scott. Councillor Scott, you're on the line.
Thank you, Worship. I fully support Councillor Ramsey's suggestion and motion, and I believe that we've been consistently asked for communication in this regard, and I think this is an excellent step. And if the Heart and Hearth group can move this forward, so much the better.
Sorry, Your Worship, I just have one more thing.
Thank you. Councillor Ramsey, go ahead.
Thanks, Your Worship. Sorry, I just forgot to mention the bullet point number 1 regarding the coordinated person-centered approach. The City of Prince George has a poverty reduction plan that really speaks, that has recommendations that speaks to that item specifically. So I don't know, Mr. Babich, if it would also be appropriate to forward the poverty reduction plan, just because there are some recommendations and action items that the committee might be able to work on from there as well. And there is one item that's in particular speaks to this, having a shared registry to access information, so it's not going to multiple different agencies. So
certainly we can share that as well. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Councillor Klassen.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to say thank you to all of you who have been doing this work and trying to who are in our gallery here, trying to fill in the gaps and catching those that are falling through the cracks. I know that it's been a hard number of years for you all, but especially for those that are falling through the cracks. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for your work that you've done. I'm really appreciative of the effort to forward this to Heart and Hearth. Could we? Is there an opportunity here to Councillor Ramsey was just talking about our poverty reduction plan. Can someone explain that a little bit? Because that's a little bit of news to me. So.
Ramsey, would you like to?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Your Worship. So last term, Councillor Krause and myself chaired the city's poverty reduction committee, which had a number of organizations participate. Within that committee, we developed a poverty reduction plan with recommendations that focused on short, medium, and long term that the city could adopt to help reduce poverty within the city. There was also a poverty profile that was commissioned by the City of Prince George. Ms. Brown could speak to this better, I'm sure. But that plan really, it was done by a researcher at UNBC and really just kind of surveyed Prince George and identified some areas where poverty is more prevalent in certain neighborhoods. So council received that information last term and adopted the plan, and it is within our work plan, those goals of the short, medium, long-term goals. I think there's somewhere between 18 to 22 recommendations that the city has in that plan to work on to help reduce poverty. Some of them are related to transportation, some of them are related to education, some housing, some are related to food security, and the committee really identified the actions associated with each of those recommendations, which fell into act, educate, or advocate. So the committee identified things that weren't necessarily under our jurisdiction, but something that we could act or that we could advocate on or we could educate on, or items that were within our jurisdiction that we could act on. So it's a very fulsome report. I think that it was really well done. We engaged with, I think it was like every nonprofit in town, and received a significant amount of feedback. So I really encourage others to go and read through that plan because it is really comprehensive. And I will say that the lens that the committee did take was looking at a distinction between poverty versus homelessness. So it doesn't address homelessness or strategies around that. That I think is still a gap and something that Heart and Hearth are really working on. It really just addresses poverty and working poverty and recommendations that can help perhaps families that are falling through the cracks. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. And so was that a formal committee or something like, but is anything happening with that group?
Well, it was a committee of council that had a terms of reference. They completed the terms of reference, and upon completion, the committee was dissolved. So. Okay. Okay, I'm just wondering if we can do something a little bit stronger than just refer this to Heart and Hearth. Is there through to maybe, I don't know, who would be dealing with that? And just in terms of encouraging this kind of thing, the collaboration that they're talking about and the person-centered approach, especially as regards homeless or precariously housed people. Is there something that we can do to support this initiative?
Sorry, Your Worship, would you like? Thank you. As Council is aware, we have a signed MOU with the province from June of last year. I think that sets a good foundation framework for working together with the province on these types of issues. Central to that is the Heart and Hearth, and we are continuing to progress with the province on that. I think the referral of these recommendations to Heart and Hearth, together with the poverty reduction plan to the Heart and Hearth table, is a great first step, and we can look to that table for some ideas as to how to move forward and potentially report back to council if there is an initiative that is recommended that requires council approval, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Babbage. Councillor Klassen?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if we could maybe have a report back. Would that be possible? Can we have a report back from Heart and Hearth and see how things are going there? Just so that this doesn't just die.
Yes, Your Worship, we can report back to council with a progress update. Specifically, perhaps where my mind is going around the transitional facility. I think that that would be helpful for council and the community to hear what progress is made there when we're at a stage that we can report back. So perhaps that can be the next time we return this to council and go from there, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor. I remember the last time we officially report to the public was a half year after 6 months. Do you suggest perhaps we
shorten the timeline?
Shorten
yes.
the time to quarterly reporting?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I was thinking quarterly would be good. So if we could have a report back and maybe, if at all possible, to have sort of a response to these certain issues, because they have been signed by a significant number of people. And I know it's not necessarily a motion of council that we necessarily all endorse these, but as this is coming from, I'm hoping that it's appropriate that we still sort of gain some feedback and on that.
Mr. Babbage, from the last reporting, the half-year report on the Heart and Heart, what is the workload look like if we increase the frequency to quarterly?
So, Your Worship, again, perhaps the most appropriate time to report back is when we have something tangible on the next steps on the transitional housing facility, which council has approved subject to some conditions, which includes some agreements that need to be finalized. So when we have an agreement perhaps that has been finalized for the city to sign, we can report back to council in an information report and also share progress on other related initiatives, Your Worship.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, do you think we need a motion to increase the frequency of reporting to, as presented by Mr. Babbage?
A motion would be good, Your Worship.
A motion would be good. Councillor Clausen, would you like,
Sorry, Your Worship, there is a motion on the floor right now, though.
there is one, just for you, okay. I just want to say something for the audience here. I recognize that there are a lot of great volunteers here, even though they officially may not be recognized as a Heart and Heart program, but throughout the last few years, it is their effort, what they've done, that keep a lot of folks from danger. As we, together as a community, try to move the encampment issue to a more, from the market and flat to transitional housing, I think their experience and their knowledge in the field for the last 2 years, most important, the intimate understanding of the problems, is very much should be appreciated by everybody working on this program. So I really encourage the volunteer, come perhaps, come to my office and share your thoughts on what's happening, and so we can work coordinately, timely of all the program, what's going on there, and see best way to help the people on the ground.
So can
We
I
have a
move?
motion. Councilor Sampson, you want to say something?
No, not on this
Not
motion.
the motion. Okay. All in favor of the motion to increase the reporting to quarterly? No, that's not the motion.
Sorry, Your Worship, this one is to forward to Heart and Hearth Project Committee.
Marginal committee. Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Councilor Sampson, you want to say something? Okay, Councilor Clausen.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion. Maybe first what I'll do is to refer to Intergovernmental Affairs for them to put together a package to consider and to bring this forward to our government. So if I could have a seconder for that, that would be great.
Second it.
Second. Basically,
The concerns expressed in this letter.
yeah, just as a discussion piece. Just, I think it's a good idea to go through the committee that we have to take a look the Heart and Heart program, the MOU that the Premier and myself we signed after almost 8 months now, 9 months, and what's it look like on the ground, and where is the area we need to pivot, change, and so we can timely coordinate this with the BC Housing, with other NGOs on the ground, so to best serve the people. The goal should be what is the best for the people who needs help. Thank you. Councilor Sampson, you want to say this to this motion? All in favor, refer to standing committee, intergovernmental. Opposed, carry. Thank you.